Hey everyone, my name is Wes. I am an international lifestyle and relocation consultant. I've been living here in Krakow, Poland for the last year now, and I have to say my experience has been fantastic. However, because I've been here a short time, maybe I'm stuck in the honeymoon phase. That's why I interviewed some of my friends who have been living here for a long time. Today we're gonna find out the question, what is it like being Asian in Poland?
I'm Sonia, that's my Polish nickname. I am originally from Korea till I was around 6. And then I moved to Poland because of my father's job.
Call me Shane. I have a small YouTube channel.
How long have you been here in Poland?
3 years now.
You've been here for 4.5 years already.
Yeah.
Your Polish is quite good. How long did it take you to get to B1?
Professionally with my teacher around 2 years, I will say. But I do practice more with my Polish friends. I would say nowadays, if you can speak Polish, the older generation is gonna treat you better.
They kind of threw me into kindergarten. I was 6. I remember kids being really sweet and supportive. Funny thing is that my teacher from kindergarten once called my parents because they're this child is not listening to me, because in Poland no is nie, but in Korean ne is yes.
Are they super surprised seeing an Asian speak Polish, or there's enough of us now that...
I think that's enough of us, so they won't be surprised, but they still will be happy to see that.
Yeah, okay. Every time I go to the market or something, they always speak to me in Polish first.
You just assume you can speak Polish.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's cute.
So my time here has been extremely positive, and I'm not saying that they treat me like a celebrity or anything. We get treated better here than we do in the West in a lot of ways, and I think the main difference is that here we're seen more as an equal. Because in the US, I always felt like we were more tolerated than actually seen as an equal. And I think this applies a lot more to Asian men than it does to Asian women, because Asian women tend to get fetishized a lot more in the West. I would say in general, Asians get treated very well in Poland. We have a long shared history together. There's a lot of white Europeans in Asian countries, and there's a lot of Asian in European countries. From what I can see, Poland tends to be very wary of outsiders because of their history. They've been invaded so many times. So I think they see outsiders as invaders or allies. I think Asians exist in a very unique spot because they've had a large Vietnamese community here for a very long time. I think they migrated around the 1950s or the 60s. Poland also has a strong relationship with Japan. There's a lot of Korean and Chinese companies in a place like Warsaw and Wrocław as well. And I'm sure in the beginning, like most countries in the world, there were some growing pains. Asians generally have a very good reputation here because we bring good food, we generally don't cause any problems, and people see us as hardworking, which are things that Polish people value as well.
Have you had any experiences with racism here?
I wouldn't say so. I would say a couple instances where I was looking for an apartment. I did encounter owners, landlords, who didn't want to rent the apartment out to anybody except for Polish. I think that's not really a racist thing. I think that's more of a nationalist
thing. That's what I've said in my channel too, actually.
Yeah, because some Polish will right out refuse to rent apartments to Ukrainians as well.
Polish people, they go into 2 sections. They just are curious and they're ignorant. Yeah, there is racism. They just don't think some of the jokes are as harmful as we take it.
I had maybe 3 times a big racism about myself. Let's rethink about the first time. That's what the second day when in Poland. I just done my grocery shopping. I was walking towards my dorm, and on the way there's 2 Polish men, I think mid 40-ish.
Oh, wow.
So they were just that's in Polish, but it's direct translated. Gonna be go back to your country. Direct on your face, straight on your face.
Okay, I see. I've talked to other Asians too, and they've said that they've also had 1 or 2 racist experiences.
Yeah, very bad, very bad.
Yes, but it's not indicative of the whole
It's
entire
not really
Polish.
happen.
Yeah.
It's not.
A lot of people say when you go to the clubs and you're ethnic, some bouncers will just outright refuse to let you in. But in my cases, none of that has happened. We're all very friendly. Sometimes they even let me in first rather than other people.
Oh, nice.
I haven't encountered any sort of real racism.
Blatant
here.
racism.
I cannot recall being treated hostile, but a lot of my Asian guy friends say that it's very different because I'm a girl. They were attacked, they were harassed on the street.
In the smaller cities or in Krakow?
Krakow, they got pepper sprayed, they got beat up. It was this year or last year.
Wow.
The other 2 that's happened in the shopping mall. People will do this to Asians because they're a middle finger towards you. Suddenly, you're just walking around. You're not even making any eye contact with them. But they just did that out of any reason.
No way. From a younger crowd or older crowd normally?
Middle age. like 40-ish, that's more. Because younger generations, they just judge everyone equally.
Yeah.
I personally have not faced a racist situation yet. There are maybe some people who may have said stuff when I'm walking around, but since I don't really speak Polish yet, I can't attribute anything to malice. And I also know that Polish people have a very dark sense of humor, so sometimes they'll make jokes that aren't intended to be offensive, but maybe we'll take it a certain way. It's very common to see Polish-Asian relationships. Usually it's a guy that's Asian with a Polish girl, but you can see the opposite as well. And it's been like this for a couple of generations already. Because if you see a lot of the Asian restaurants, it's usually an Asian man with a Polish girl and then they have kids. There are Viet Poles, there are Chinese Poles, there are Korean Poles.
Culture is so different between like Polish men and Korean men. My dad did say that he would prefer me to marry a Korean man. I feel like it would be easier in a lot of senses, you know, like with no language barrier, like they can understand each other, they understand like the tradition and everything. But like he wouldn't mind me marrying a white.
So tell me what it was like when you were dating that Polish guy. You guys are just talking.
We're just
right?
talking, we're not dating. The reason why we started conversation between us, it was because they are really curious about Asian girls.
You think it was fetishization?
Let's see it that way.
Yeah. Do you think it's a problem or no?
No, it's not a problem.
I don't think it's a problem
They're
either.
nice. They're really nice person.
Yeah.
And they just be curious about you. They will ask you a lot of different questions from different perspective. Like, oh, are you guys really eat dogs?
Yes. I don't think it's an issue either, you know, but I'm a guy, so it's different. Because when girls fetishize me, I'm like, ooh, yay, attention.
Yellow fever?
The way I see it's like, everybody has a type, right? So if Asian girls are your preference, as long as they're respectful, who cares?
The thing is, I've only ever dated Polish men. Because I grew up here, there is not a lot of choices, like, to tell you the truth. Like, even if I wanted to date like an Asian or Hispanic or black man, I cannot find.
Do you think that the men here fetishize you?
I feel like it's not much different than other countries. In every single country, there are like men who fetishize like some race.
Mostly Asian, let's be honest, right? White men love Asian women.
That may be the case. I feel like because I speak Polish and I know the culture, I just like stay away from those kind of men. For me, that's a big ick. I hate when guys fetishize Asian girls. I feel like it's more common for girls, white girls, to fetishize Asian men.
In Poland, right?
Yeah,
Yes, and I feel it, and I love it.
The discrimination is a lot less in dating, almost none. It's a level playing field where I can fully enjoy dating as a normal guy.
Yeah, I've noticed that too, actually. It's really interesting, like walking around and seeing Slavic girls in general checking me out. I didn't really get that in the US as much.
All of my guy friends, they are just like soaking up the attention. They love it. There's, in my opinion, different being appreciating a culture and just like fetishizing it.
I think the Asian woman experience in the US is way different than the Asian man experience. I think Asian women get treated well by every race because they can freely date outside of the race. But I think Asian men have been constantly seen as inferior in the West for a very long time. I think you can see this in a lot of Western European countries, but for some reason, Poland and towards Russia, so like Ukraine, Belarus, all of these countries are so familiar with Asian people because we have such a long-standing history. And even a lot of the Stan countries, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, they're all people that look like me, but they all speak Russian. They have a lot of Russian cultures. A lot of attraction is based on exposure, and because we've been in close proximity for a very long time, we see each other more as allies rather than enemies.
You know, I've dated Belarusians, I've dated Polish, I've dated Ukrainians here. They're all very open to dating
Asian guys, right?
I haven't experienced anything radical like in the US where they just outright say, I don't date Asians, or they totally ignore you, don't give you time of day. Most of them are very friendly. If you approach them, they'll smile. The worst case scenario, if they want to reject you, is probably they just say, no, I have a boyfriend or stuff like that. You don't get that super harsh rejection where they just brush you off completely or give you the hand or don't even acknowledge your existence. Those cases happen a lot in the US.
Do you think Chinese culture, Polish culture are similar?
I would say it's pretty similar compared to other Western European countries.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah, for example, the family culture thing, how you treat other people from a more respectful way.
Would you say Polish people focus a lot on education?
Not as Chinese that much,
Yeah.
but Chinese is a bit like
Pretty
single
extreme,
thing.
yeah.
It's totally strictful.
In Korea, like studying is a core value to a lot of people, and in Poland, it's like not like that at all.
It depends on what you compare it to. If you compare Chinese and Polish, of course, it's not the
No,
same.
no way.
But if you look on the grand scheme of the world,
Yeah.
I feel like it's actually quite similar. I personally see a lot of culture similarities between Polish people and specifically like Chinese people. We are very hardworking. The way our general society is set up is very similar. Everybody's minding their own business. People will help you if they need to. It's generally very, very safe. Strong emphasis on family values, even though maybe in Asian countries it can be taken a little more to the extreme because that parent's opinion matters a lot more in Asian countries.
In the cultural sense of dating, it's very different because in Korea, the parents don't really meet the partners of their children if they're not very serious, like getting engaged, kind of serious. And in Poland, my ex-boyfriend's like families like welcomed me like very soon. We just got together. It was quite weird for me in a way because my parents, they never hated my ex-boyfriends. They were very open. He's just, you know, like my daughter's boyfriend. When I see my Polish friends, let's say like there's a family party and they take their boyfriends, their girlfriends, it's like very open. And in Korean culture, it's not as much. Politeness or like, you know, what you should do or shouldn't do, it's like very different in Korea and in Poland.
We also have very similar political roots, specifically China and a lot of former Soviet countries. I know Poland wasn't a part of the Soviet Union, but they were under Soviet control for a while. There's also a very strong nuclear family, and I actually see these values still pushed to this day here in Poland. And also something that's very different from Latin people or Arab people. People in the East tend to be a lot more emotionally cold. And it's a big difference because when I would date Latino women, yes, sex may be a lot more intense, it's a lot more passionate, but in the relationship, it's a more of an emotional roller coaster. Whereas I feel like the people here, Asian women and Slavic women, are a lot more emotionally balanced and they're a lot more stoic. And we all experience emotional damage from our parents.
Korean and Polish, they both drink alcohol quite well. In Korea, like you want something, we are going to drink. You're upset, we're going to drink.
Yeah.
But in Poland, like even if like people are religious, they don't mind getting a tattoo, which is quite surprising to me because I always just imagine like religious people, like especially don't like tattoos, piercings. But like in Poland, it's very open.
Also, something I've noticed is that here, it seems that the women have tattoos more than the men do. And I think that applies to both Poland and Ukraine. I don't know if that's true countrywide, but that's an observation that I made. If you guys want to watch another video, I highly recommend this one right here. If you guys want to contact me for whatever reason, feel free to reach out to me here. What do you guys think? Share your thoughts down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.